I've got another Endmyopia Gains update for you, as well as some things I do in order to help me active focus when my eyes just can't be bothered looking at stuff really. So I'll start with my gains. I actually took a little video for you when I first measured my eyes and saw these extra gains. So I'll cut to that now. So just a quick little casual vloggy sort of update is I just measured my eyes on my computer screen with the online calculator, and I have been feeling like I haven't been doing a very good job with my eyes lately. I feel like I've been having far too much screen time again, doing all the things that you're not meant to do, right? The things that I know create ciliary spasm in my eyes. And so I thought I'll measure them. I need to know how I'm going. I need to stop putting it off, stop being afraid, and just look at it and get back on track. And I got quite a pleasant surprise. My right eye, which is my dominant eye, the better of the two, it measured at 46 centimeters, which it's never done before. My record before now is 44 centimeters, and I would have been stoked to be anywhere near that. Like, wow, 46. Yeah, when I started this journey, it was at 36, I think, but that was with ciliary spasm. Once I released my ciliary spasm, it was 39. So that was quite a sudden jump, and it went backwards and forwards between those numbers for ages. And then when I started actually making progress, I got above 39, and I got up to 44, and now 46, even after like a couple of weeks where I feel like I have really not been giving it my best. My left eye measured at 38 centimeters. I don't think that's a record, but I think it's up there with, you know, some of my high measurements. So I'm less excited about that one, but I just got quite a shock with my right eye. Yes, so that's pretty much all I have to report just now, but I was just so excited I wanted to film a video with my actual emotions right now to share with you later. So please apologize. No, don't apologize. I'll apologize. So I apologize for the quality and my beautiful face, not really in video mode, but you know how it is. All right, I'm off to catch a bus now, and I'm going to do some active focus out the window without even listening to an audiobook on my phone because I forgot my silly adapter. I have one of those phones where you can't plug in headphones without an adapter, like there's no headphone jack. What were they thinking? Anyway, I am going to go up on the street now and walk along for the bus stop, and I don't really want people to see me holding up my phone like this. It's a bit embarrassing. Alright, see ya! It's always very exciting when you're on the Endmyopia journey and you can actually see some tangible results. And sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't, sometimes it feels like you're going backwards. The main thing is to just keep going, because that is actually quite normal that the eye will do different things at different times of the day, depending on the lighting, depending on what you've been doing, depending on how tired you are, how much alcohol you've had, how much coffee even, I don't know, sugar, meat, cabbage. You definitely can expect to see some ups and downs as you progress. Sometimes I don't want to check my eye distance and my measurements because I feel like it's going to be bad news. Do you ever get that when you don't want to look at your bank balance because you're afraid that it's not going to be good? So instead of checking your bank balance, you just keep spending money. So I kind of did that with my eyes. I just felt like, oh, it's not good. But instead of checking my centimeters, I just wanted to ignore that and wait until things were better before I checked, but I wasn't doing anything to make them better. You know how it is. Eventually I was just like, come on, you just have to check your eyes. If you've lost some centimeters, if you've got ciliary spasm back, just find out now and move on. So I checked my centimeters and I got a very pleasant surprise indeed. My right eye is now 46 centimeters and my left eye is about 40 on a good day. I mean, that's both on a good day. It can still drop. I think now though, when my vision drops, on a bad day, it's about 42 and a half and 38. So that's pretty incredible considering I started at about 36 and I think about 32. So definite gains there. In other gain news, I was sitting out in my little garden today and I was looking at that pot plant label that I keep talking about, the one that I was trying to do active focus on. By the way, in the last video I made, which was about active focus, I said that this thing I was doing with this pot plant label was not active focus, it was actually probably clear flashes. Since then I've had some chatting in the Endmyopia forum, especially with Rhiannon, and I am now changing my mind again. I think that was a kind of active focus, what I was doing with the plant label, which is referred to as pulling focus. So there's pushing focus, which is when you have the book and you keep trying to put it a bit further away, and pulling focus when you have something far away that's blurry that you're like bringing into focus. So it probably was active focus. Apparently, clear flashes are a bit more spontaneous, less of the staring and eye-watering happening. Anyway, back on topic. I was looking at this plant label just today and I realized I can clear that up kind of quickly. Now again, in these situations for me, when something is far away and I'm bringing it into clarity, it feels less like I'm doing it and feels a lot more like my eye is doing it. So with active focus, when I'm pushing focus and something's close up and I'm putting it to a little bit further away and I'm clearing up that little bit of blur, I definitely feel like that's an intentional thing I have control over. But when something's far away and blurry, all I can do is stare at it and let my eyes water until it comes into focus, and then when I blink it'll fall out of focus again. Whereas when things are close and just a little bit blurry, I can do a lot more of holding things in focus. But anyway, I was sitting looking at this label and it was coming into focus pretty quickly. It was going out of focus again still as soon as I blinked, but within the course of 60 seconds I was probably getting it in focus like 3 times, whereas previously it would have taken me about 5 minutes to get it into focus once. So I found that quite interesting, and my theory is that it's like starting already from a clearer place because I've gained just a few extra centimeters. It doesn't sound like a lot or that it should make that big of a difference, but I can see what I can see and I feel like it's still blurry, but I think even without clearing it up, I can just about make out that the big letters say Bamboo Select anyway. Whereas before it's just a big fuzz of blur and I wouldn't have been able to tell you what it said. And not only was the pot plant, focusing on that pot plant label, different for me today than I have felt it was previously, I also managed to pull into focus a power pole.
Holy heck. I could see that power pole just then. I've never done that before.
Again, just to reiterate, these times when I'm pulling this into focus, I don't feel like I'm doing it. I feel like my eye is doing it by itself. I'm just letting it have time to play around with what it can see. I certainly couldn't pull these things into focus on command. It's only when my eye does what it does. I had a day off yesterday. I decided to make the most of the day. It was a beautiful sunny day, lovely, lovely weather, and I took out my mat and went outside and lay in the sun. Yes, I lay on the driveway because that is what is out the front of my house. You have to make the most of what you have, right? I lay in the sun and I decided I was going to listen to my audiobook, drink my tea, and just look around me. Just use my eyes and do some active focus, like for the whole day, and really give my eyes some solid therapy. Problem number 1 is it was pretty glary. Now, I don't know if you get this, but glare makes me sneeze. Like when I get glare or the sun in my eye, I will sneeze. I know some of you will know what I'm talking about because I think statistically it's 1 in 5 people get this. The other 4 of you, you'll have no idea what is wrong with us, but I think the idea is that the light entering our eyes does something with blood in our face and our noses. It kind of makes the cartilage in the nose erect, and that makes you sneeze. So I get this, which means that when I'm trying to actually look at anything in the glare, I will sneeze. So when I first start trying to active focus outside on a sunny day, there will always be sneezing. So the beginning of my active focus outside on a sunny day always starts with sneeze phase. And the second thing, which was a problem for me, is I get bored. Now, I had tea, I was listening to my audiobook, but you know what? My eyes were getting bored. My eyes wanted something to do too. I had given my ears something to do, my hands something to do, my mouth something to do, but nothing for my eyes to do. And they were like, screw this sucks. I kept on realizing either that my eyes were closed, thanks very much eyes, that's not what we're doing right now, or I was paying attention to the audiobook so much that I may as well have had my eyes closed because I was focusing on nothing. Do you ever get that? You know what I'm talking about, when you're deep in thought and then like you're actually not looking at anything. In order to keep my eyes doing their work, I had to think of a few things to do to keep them engaged. So the first thing I did was counting leaves. That did get boring after a while, but I could at least hold the attention of my eyes for a longer time. Another thing I did, I realized I used to do as a kid, and I don't know if anyone else did this. I would look around and I would look at the trees and at the surrounding houses, and I would pretend, I would imagine that I was climbing them. So I had to like look for the next foothold, or how I would get from one tree to the roof of a house and then over across some treetops to the next roof. Just kind of like Assassin's Creed style of like running around on rooftops, except I had to kind of imagine semi-realistic. I mean, obviously not realistic, but realistic enough that, you know, I had to work it out how I would get across without touching the ground. And that actually kept my eyes engaged for quite a while because it was kind of creative. And that made me think also about like being a child. When you're a kid, you really get to know things. Like you look at things a lot more, at least I did. Maybe the kids these days don't because they have all these digital devices. But when I was a kid, like you'd really get like right up close to things. I know up close is not what we're aiming for. I remember I would lie underneath a table and play by looking at the swirls and lines of grain in the wood. You know, like you really look at things at that age. You get up close and you play with things. Everything is to play with. And so you kind of get to know it in a different way than we adults get to know things. We're so busy, we hardly look at anything. So I think using your eyes, you have to kind of learn how to look like a child, how to see like a child. And another way to keep your eyes engaged when you're trying to do active focus, because even if you're doing something like going for a walk, it's so easy to get lost in your head and stop focusing on anything, is to just really appreciate the gift of sight. Like the fact that we can see, like love seeing things. It's so exciting that we can see all these things, so much detail. It's kind of like if you've ever worn a virtual reality headset. The first time I put one on, it was amazing to be like, whoa, I can turn around and there's stuff behind me and I can like move this way and things kind of change where they're sitting and I can go and look behind that thing and oh, so fun. If you've never tried a virtual reality headset, that might sound weird. But sometimes if you're playing video games, it can be really impressive, the graphics, and just to see what they've done there. And if you could only step inside the game, like, wow, how amazing would that be? Sometimes it helps me to think that way, like, I'm in it. This is it. I'm inside the game. Whoa. Like, it just helps me to really appreciate the incredible graphics. All right, so I think I've successfully sounded like the biggest geek just here. That's enough from me for today. Please do remember to like, comment and subscribe, especially like and subscribe. I mean, commenting would be great, but yes, it really helps me. So even if you didn't like it, if you press like, you know, just for my sake, that would be gold. I'll see you next week. Stay healthy. So first up, I'm clicking a lot. Tip, 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 tip. I don't know where you're focusing. Right eye, 46 centimeters, centimeters, mate. Time was, I was young once too.